come to the A-list for magic. We come to the A-list to laugh, to cry, to care, because we need that, all of us. That indescribable feeling when the lights begin to dim. Welcome back to the A-list. Welcome back to the A-List, your go-to place for any and all lists pertaining to movies, TV, music. I'm your host, Adam. Let's get right into it. Nicole Kidman, my favorite actress in the game right now. I've said it many, many times before. She is one of our last weirdo movie stars. She shared that sentiment on her Instagram story, so I think I can repeat it. But, she is just not afraid to be weird. She has no vanity when it comes to performing. She picks interesting projects, and she's utterly fearless when she approaches those roles. My phone vibrated, and I thought it was Nicole again. Just kidding. In January, the Criterion Channel did a special highlight of Nicole Kidman films, so that inspired me to compile my top 10 Nicole Kidman performances. I don't know when this video is coming out with all the award season hullabaloo, but that collection inspired me to make this list that I've wanted to do for a long time. So without further ado, here are my top 10 Nicole Kidman performances. At number 10, we've got Boy Erased. Boy Erased is a gut punch of a film. I saw it in theaters one time, and I don't know if I can do it again, but it's really good. It's just very hard to get through. Boy Erased is based on a true story about a young man who is outed to his parents and sent to a conversion therapy camp. His dad, played by Russell Crowe, is a pastor. Lucas Hedges is terrific leading this movie. It's a dazzling performance, and Nicole Kidman is kind of the movie's secret weapon, in my opinion. She plays his mother, and as he undergoes this traumatic experience, we kind of see her really come to terms with her son's identity and really go out of her way to unlearn what she has been taught in order to maintain a relationship with her son, and goes on this journey to fully love and embrace her son for who he is. It's a great performance. Kidman does a great job at crafting this woman who is in the wrong, but does not know or understand anything else, but is going out of her way to seek understanding. At number 9, I have Eyes Wide Shut. Eyes Wide Shut is not my most favorite movie. I do not love it as much as a lot of the film community does, but Nicole Kidman's terrific in it. She's not in a lot of it, but she is terrific in the little she has. I think she just has this wonderful, captivating, ethereal energy that really balances out with the overall tone of the film. That whole movie feels like a fever dream, and I think she floats effortlessly through. She doesn't have a lot to do in the movie, but when she is on screen, she's utterly captivating. I love that she kind of plays that role like she's got a secret. I don't really know how else to describe it, but she's got this glimmer in her eye that you can't help but really be drawn in by. Again, I don't love the movie, so I don't have a ton to say about it, but I love her performance in that. Number 8, The Hours. I think Nicole Kidman as Virginia Woolf really disappears into this role. I think it's really impressive how you are able to feel her presence all over that film, especially in the other storylines that take place way after her character is no longer on this earth. She plays the character of Virginia Woolf with this deep melancholy, but it never feels oh, woe is me. I don't know how else to articulate that, but it is quite a beautifully melancholic performance. And I appreciate the way she really makes you feel the ache in this woman. I really appreciate how it feels palpable and it's pulsing right off the screen. Number 7, Killing of a Sacred Deer. I think she just really falls into the Yorgos realm of performances really well. I think she matches that tone remarkably. It's also impressive that while she is seemingly falling into this absurd tone, this very specific way of delivering dialogue, you can still feel her desperation as a mother watching her children lose their autonomy and wither away in front of her. Those moments are really sharp and searing, especially when she gets on her husband and is come on now. And I love how you can feel from her specifically this isn't a one-note situation. It is a very complex, impossible situation there, and you feel her fear, you feel her sadness, you feel her understanding for Martin, played by Barry Keoghan. You feel all of that there. It's a very fascinating performance. At number 6, Paddington. Nicole Kidman is at her best when we just let her loose, let her be a little weirdo, and let her have fun. And she is having fun. She had nothing but a bob and a dream in that movie. She is so deliciously evil in this role, and it's always played with like kind of a wink to the camera. She really manages to make it campy, but it's never too much, but it is still a little cartoony. She is having a blast in this movie, and I'm having a blast watching her. I think what works about this character is like she's not like, okay, I'm going to be campy. She's playing it truthfully and very honestly, and in doing so, it just brings all of that out of her. Does that make sense, class? Unironically, she's terrific in Paddington. At number 5, I have Baby Girl. This is a late entry, but I do think her work in this movie is so fearless and it is so uninhibited, and it's amazing to me how she is so far into her career and still outdoing herself and pushing herself. I have a whole review of this movie on my page, but what I loved about the performance is like she is playing this woman tapping into her desire, but in those more intimate moments, we can see the vulnerability all over her face, and she's kind of in this dance between vulnerability and pleasure, and it's really fascinating to watch how she plays that out. And as it just spirals deeper and deeper, I think that character kind of peels back more and more, and she just makes it so interesting to watch. I loved her in that movie. Number 4, The Northman. I think she deserved an Oscar nomination for this role. She's so good in it. That character is so interesting because she's introduced pretty much off the jump and then kind of goes away for a bit. We see her in glimpses and then she comes back in a big way at the end. What is so impressive about the performance though is it feels so lived in and well-rounded from the jump, so that even though we don't spend a lot of time with her off the jump, that persona carries throughout the movie as we go on this journey. This is a spoiler warning if you haven't seen The Northman. Okay, are you gone? So when we get to that moment at the end when she actually is kind of in on it the whole time, it's all the more devastating, and it's because of like what she does at the beginning. But also when that moment happens, you can kind of think back to the beginning and you can be like, oh yeah, I see it there. She weaves in this like sinister underbelly to the character as well. So like the pieces all make sense when they are spread out before you. Also, that monologue at the end she delivers to Alexander Skarsgård is insane. It's so dark and it's so upsetting. She's so good. She's so good. Speaking of more villainous roles, number 3, I have Stoker. This character is so unhinged. I think she just really, really goes for it in this movie. I love her work in this movie. Stoker is wild and messy and complicated and a little bit hard to like boil down, but Nicole Kidman is playing this grieving widow who kind of starts to move forward with her dead husband's brother. Things get very complicated. I won't spoil anything, but you never know where you're going with that character. It is such a wild ride. And then in the third act, she delivers this monologue that is so seared in my brain. I will never forget it. Like, this is also an Oscar-worthy performance. She should have absolutely received award recognition for her work in this. The character is so mean-spirited and sinister, but also just like deeply broken and really trying her best to move forward and navigate her like next step while also dealing with like things going on up here. It's very intricate, but Nicole Kidman sells it. She sells it. I understand I'm kind of vague here, but I don't want to like spoil anything. This movie is really great to go into pretty blind. At number 2, we have To Die For. To Die For is a satirical black comedy film. It is based on the true story of Pamela Smart, and Nicole Kidman plays this like aspiring news correspondent, and it's a mockumentary about her time in this small town and her relationship with her husband and the people in the town. It's very campy, it's very satirical, and much like a lot of the roles in this list, Nicole Kidman commits to it truthfully, something I think Nicole Kidman does really well. And I think what makes, in general, like the more complicated satirical dark humor roles work is when you play it with utter sincerity. Like, she is playing this role 100% serious. Like, she is like living the truth, and I think it allows everything to land much clearer. And I think she just like really nails that tone. Like, she is funny, but also like there's something going on behind her eyes where you feel like she could just kind of at any given moment. This is another one where I'm like, how did you not give her an award for this. It's so good. It's so unapologetic. It's so silly at some points. Like, this character is also kind of an idiot, but she's also a bit of a monster. Like, it's really impressive to watch her teeter back and forth from like this ditzy persona to this manipulative entity. It's incredible. But my number one performance from Nicole Kidman is Birth. That movie was very controversial when it was initially released. It is about a woman who encounters a young boy who is claiming to be her deceased husband reincarnated. It's directed by Jonathan Glazer. It's a weird movie, but it's a great movie. It's a great meditation on grief. And I think Nicole Kidman does such a beautiful performance as this woman who thinks she has moved forward and is kind of pulled back into her grief and is like trying to gain closure from this unresolved mess that she thought she'd moved on from. It's really vulnerable, it's really painful, it's really beautiful at times. I think she does a great job at making you like on her side, even though this situation is very like messy and hairy and like hard to watch. I think you really like understand where she's coming from, and she makes her someone you really root for. I just think Nicole Kidman is one of our best. I love her so much. If she is in the movie, I will likely be excited and seated for it. That does it for this episode of the A-List. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you do all the things you're supposed to do with YouTube videos. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you share. Make sure you follow me everywhere else. And I will see you on the next one or at an AMC reciting the Kidman prayer. Bye.